So we're super duper excited about tonight. I got the woman of God in the house. I got her on camera tonight. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I better get my camera on here. Here she is, Bonnie Johnson. Give her a big hand and a round of applause.
Thank you.
Man, we're having so much fun today, man. I tell you, we've been very, very, very busy doing a lot today with the launch of the book. We're excited. All of those of you who are joining in, we're super excited because right now Bonnie is at somewhere around the neighborhood of 470 on Amazon for book sales. So we're super duper happy for that. But we want to get her to number one. I want to get her to number one. So we are still pushing. Many of you who are on tonight, you received an email. We just sent it out recently. And what we're doing is we're asking you to help us spread the word. So we've spread the word as much as we can in the network that we have. But if you really believe in the scriptures where Jesus said, hey, they said, what's the two greatest commandments?
That's right.
He said, number one, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, and your spirit, and your body, right?
Amen.
Then the second commandment was what? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, we got a book here that says end self-hatred and finally learn how to love yourself.
That's right.
Because what's that scripture say? It's saying that, listen, the foundation of loving God, the foundation of loving other people, if you don't love yourself unconditionally, and that's what Bonnie talks about in this book so brilliantly. If you don't love yourself unconditionally, I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna end up living a life with bad relationships, one bad relationship after the next bad relationship.
That's right.
It's gonna hinder you professionally because you can't connect. It not only relationally, but also it's gonna stop you in the sense of your wealth. You're not going to make the money because you don't have relationships. And not only that, your health. So many people, when you don't really love yourself, you don't take care of yourself. And that's one of the biggest problems. It doesn't take very long to look around in the United States of America. Oh, boy.
Sure.
Oh, boy. It shows all over with our bodies, right?
Yep.
And how we take care of ourselves. And all of these main issues in our life, whether it's financial, relational, or health, it's all tied back to what Jesus said. Loving yourself. And that is the foundation.
Right.
So we got to get rid of our self-hatred. And you talk about that great in the book. So can you help us? I know y'all know some people out there that don't love themselves. You got some family, you got some friends, and you got some enemies.
That's
I
probably
know
true.
y'all got some enemies out there. Hey, just go to your email, right? I want you to do this right now because all of you who are on live right now, you received an email and we just said, will you forward this email? Just forward the email to 5 or 10 people. That's all we're asking you to do. But we welcome you all.
Yes.
To this awesome time together. And what do you want to say before I know what I want to ask you some questions. What do you want to say to the people before we get started?
Well, this book means a lot to me, and I'm sure it's going to mean a lot to all of you, because when you have self-hatred, it destroys your body, it destroys your relationships, and we're ending that. Mm-hmm. I ended it in my life, and I decided I'm not going to carry that anymore. And I got to share something with you real quick. I have this ring. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it's an octopus.
Imagine you having bling on. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's zoom in on the bling bling. Okay, some of you don't know my wife. She's the bling queen. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go.
Well,
Stick it out there. What you got
this
going on
ring
here?
is an octopus.
Oh yeah, you got an octopus.
And in my book, I talk about Oscar the Octopus, who really tried to steal everything from us. So I found this ring in a boutique, and I thought, I'm using this ring as a symbol that he can't steal anything anymore. And I can wear this with pride because nothing can be stolen from me anymore. I don't give it away. So
Ooh,
Oscar,
like
you can't. He couldn't have it, but I love the bling on it.
That's a lot of diamonds, baby. That's a lot of diamonds.
No.
Yeah, but hey, what we should do is we should show people like the crux of the book.
Oh, please.
This is a picture of what she's talking about. The book that she did is so unique. I want to show y'all this. It's so unique. You're gonna love it. It's something you've never seen before. But the whole story is centered around it's the story. The real book is called The Story of Penelope Jane.
Right.
End self-hatred and finally learn to love yourself. And what do you explain to everybody watching there what they're looking at?
Well, right here in the octopus, he has tentacles.
Right.
And each tentacle is a chapter of my book and things that I had to conquer in my own life to get rid of. So there's Penelope Jane, and she's attacking each tentacle one at a time. And when I looked at this, I thought, how incredible in this ring that all the tentacles in there. And as I conquered them, I thought, this is my reward. Oscar, you see, this is my reward for conquering.
You wear him on your hand now.
Oh, you better believe it. He can't wear me for nothing. I wear him on my hand for sure.
Yeah, I love that.
But Penelope has her sword, and the sword of the Spirit is the Word of God. And so she went after him with the Word.
Yes,
And
awesome.
So I love it.
That's cool. You're so brilliant how you did that. Like, she wanted to create, it's a book that tells her story, but it gives it in a different form, right? So Oscar's really the enemy.
Right.
And he has these tentacles, and octopuses try to wrap themselves around you and suck everything out of you. And there's these 7 key things that you found out about self-hatred that you had to deal with.
Right.
And you had to conquer. And
each one.
Oscar represents the enemy.
Yes, he does.
And so you do it in a cheerful, a light way. It's so neat. And how you defeated these 7 main things that keep people locked up in self-hatred.
Right.
So I love it. I love it. So we just wanted to show you that and kind of get an idea of where the book's going to take you. It's not your ordinary book for sure, because one of the things Bonnie does in the book, before I'm going to ask her some questions, one of the things she does is she tells the story through the lens of Penelope Jane dealing with Oscar.
Right.
And she tells the story of her life and how she overcame each one of these evil tentacles that tried to keep her in self-hatred. Yeah. And what she did to cut those tentacles off. And people who came into her life to help her, and some people, sadly,
didn't.
Who were actually used to cause some of these problems and some of these issues, just like we know.
That's right.
But once you tell the story, what's super cool is then Bonnie goes in like Dr. Phil. and she takes the story and kind of says, okay, you learned this story. Now here is here's a look at it from a psychological point of view and what you need to fix. And then you give them coaching assignments at the end of each one of what to do.
That's important, because once you hear information, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
So you've got to take it and do something with it.
All right. So awesome. So let's dive in. I want to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
And first of all, I want you just to tell like the journey of writing the book and how it all began and how you even came up with this whole thing.
Well, it's all because of you. And what happened was, my husband came to me one day, and I had been talking and complaining about a few things, and he said, well, why don't you write notes down about how you're feeling, what's going on in your life right now. So he did this thing called one word. What's your one word? And I sat and thought about that for a while, and I thought, self-hatred. Well, I thought he was going to fall off the chair when I told him that. I said, I dealt with a lot of self-hatred. And he's still looking at me like, a calf at a new gate and trying to figure out this. And I realized that through this, I started journaling. He said, write things down. And I started writing my feelings down and stories, past, present. And all of a sudden, things kept coming into my spirit. You know, like, I've got to deal with things. Mm-hmm. And as I did that, there was a lot of pain, a lot of laughing, a lot of crying. And it was a journey. Mm-hmm. It was a journey writing that down. And I recommend that to everyone. Write down your feelings. Mm-hmm. That's really important. And feelings that I had to deal with was...
So you started journaling from, you started looking at your past.
Right.
Because I told you, I said, listen, you need to journal everything that was positive that happened to you and everything that's negative.
Right.
And you started journaling all of that out.
Right.
And I sat there and I watched you go through this whole, like you said, laughing and crying, and I'm like, what in the world? And then when you came out and told me, well, my one word is self-hatred.
Yeah.
I was thinking, of all the women in the world, I mean, Bonnie's a super confident person. And I'm thinking self-hatred, but then when you started to outline your story, there's like stuff that happened to you in your childhood that I didn't even know happened to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some things, but wow, there are some things, because everybody says to me, oh, Bonnie, you know, you have everything just perfect, your hair is perfect, your makeup's perfect, and they look at your perfect, quote, perfect life and think you've never gone through anything.
Right. I've had many people say that to me.
Right.
You don't know what it's like to go through anything.
Right. And in this book, you
share it.
You laid out everything you've been through.
Right.
So you come out with self-hatred.
Right.
Now, and you're looking at your story.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the past that caused you to not love yourself.
Right. Well, I grew up in a home where I never felt loved. My dad loved me, but every time my dad showed me love, then he had a price to pay for that.
Why is that?
Because my mom picked at me. My mom had a stepmother that didn't like me at all. So she would always tell me, you're ugly and you're never going to amount to anything. But there was one problem. My mom allowed her to do that.
So she played Oscar.
She did.
In Oscar's hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she allowed my grandma to do that to me. She never protected me.
Okay.
And so growing up, I never felt loved by my mom, or my grandma, certainly not. But my dad tried to compensate for it, which didn't always work out. And I think the biggest thing for me was I always felt maybe if I did something that maybe they would like me. But that didn't work. So all I started doing at that time was putting little pebbles in my heart. And as a child, I started getting a stony heart. It started with one little pebble, then it went to a few rocks, until finally, one day it became a boulder. And it was a big thing in my life that I really had difficulty. I didn't love myself.
Wow.
And I really struggled with love because, you know, you're not going to amount to anything, but you care.
So wait a minute. So this step-grandmother told you you'd never amount to anything, told you were ugly, told you that you're no good, and told it to your mom.
Yes.
And then she believed it.
Well, and
she influenced her.
She
in a
influenced
negative
my
way
mom
to join in on the putting you down and all the rejection that you faced.
And she did that. And so that was difficult.
And then you just bottled it all up inside.
All inside of
these
me.
Stones and hurts and
I did.
all of that.
Right.
Okay.
And I just felt that nobody cared. But you know, God's so awesome. You know what he did?
What?
He sent my Aunt Donna into my life.
Okay.
And Aunt Donna's the reason that I have the name called Penelope Jane.
Okay.
She was my
dad's... So that's the title of the book.
Right. And it's and I dedicated the book to her. She's gone to be with the Lord. But she was such an important person in my life. She was my dad's baby sister. And I adored her.
Why did she call you Penelope Jane?
Because Penelope Jane was a queen. And she said, she had 6 boys, but she said I was her queen.
Wow.
I was Queen Penelope. And whenever I was around her, I felt like a queen. She made me feel so special.
Wow.
I never wanted her to leave. And that was the first time in my life that I really felt loved and accepted was by her.
Wow, so you had, that's interesting, a dichotomy here, right?
Right.
You had on this side of the coin, you have these people, let's call them, right, that are putting you down, criticizing you. You never can do a single thing right. You're ugly, you're stupid, blah, 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 right?
Right.
All, you know, it's accuser of the brethren. That's
true.
That's the words that the enemy uses against everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this voice over here, and then you have a voice of your aunt,
right,
that's telling you the exact opposite.
Exactly.
Giving you a name of a queen.
Right.
Wow.
It was incredible. She was just awesome.
So obviously there had to be this inner struggle going on.
Oh, there was. Big time.
It's like the thing, he loves me not. I'm
right.
pretty, I'm not pretty.
Exactly.
What am I, right?
Exactly. You're kind of like out there, you know. It's like,
yeah, and that's where the devil's playground is in doubt, right? So
true.
Doubt is like, I don't know what I am.
I was like a wave tossed to and fro.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt at times.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And then you had the stony heart.
Right.
So what happened?
Well, I always loved going to church.
Yes.
That was my favorite thing to do. And one Sunday morning, I went to church. I snuck out of the house and went. And that day, the pastor had an altar call. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I believe I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I went forward and I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. Mm. And when he came in, it was like, all I can tell you is a bathing of love that came over me and came in me. Mm-hmm. And it just, I'd never felt that before. Mm. And it was like a cleansing that took over in me. And all of a sudden, I felt there's somebody that really loves me because God is love.
Right.
You know, he is love. And when he comes into us, we're going to permeate that love.
Mm. We should.
We should. Mm-hmm. You're right. It should be. And I was like, Lord, something has happened in my life. I'm not going to accept all this junk. And as a little girl, I started making a determination that I'm not going to put labels on me. I had to really fight.
You're not going to let these people tell you you're dumb, you're ugly.
No,
you're
because
not
they
gonna
did that. Yep.
So you became like that. You became like this thing in the arena, right? You became this girl with. That's why
she wanted to fight.
That's why you have the picture of the little girl and the sword.
She had to fight.
She had to fight as a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Something that your parents should have empowered you.
Right.
That should have been an environment of empowerment.
Exactly. But it wasn't.
It crippled you.
Yep.
And thank God for this Aunt Donna that
spoke
spoke positive in your life.
But you know.
And God coming into your heart like that.
Right. But the thing is, before that, I need to go back a little bit because I would look at myself with eyes and I would start to think. I didn't even want to look in mirrors. I really had a thing about looking in mirrors.
Is that why you put the mirror on the front of the book?
Yes, because I couldn't do it before.
You couldn't look at a mirror?
No. Because every time I looked at that mirror, I thought, oh, there's that ugly girl again. There's that girl that will never amount to anything. Mm. And I told myself that. I had the worst negative self-talk that you can imagine. And every time I was talking, I was, boy, Bonnie, your hair is long and black, and nobody's going to like long black hair. And, you know, just little things like that that I would do to myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to be that way. I want to be like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And then the day came where I could look in that mirror. Mm. And it was after my healing took place.
Wow.
But remember, healing is a process.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through a lot of process. I had to go through a lot of junk to get out. And it didn't happen overnight. I say it this way, the pebbles came in little at a time, and God started removing them a little at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was an onion that he had to peel layers and layers off of.
Okay.
And once he did that, it was like, holy cow, I'm a different person.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I honestly could say that I did love myself.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at myself in a new light. I looked at myself with God's eyes, but I looked at myself as the queen, Penelope.
So you changed your self-portrait of how
Right.
you saw yourself.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I had to do that.
So prior so when you lived in self-hatred, you were seeing yourself as this ugly person you
Right.
couldn't even look at in the mirror,
Right.
to now
Hmm.
you see yourself. What do you look at when you look in a mirror today?
I look in the mirror and I say, what an awesome, kind-hearted person you are.
Okay.
I look at that and I think,
You didn't have beautiful in those
well,
descriptions.
beautiful. Okay, beautiful.
Okay. I'm just wondering. I tell you that every morning.
Yes,
but
you do. You come in, even my hair standing up all over. In the morning, you'll come in the bedroom and say, you're so beautiful.
That's right.
And bring me breakfast in bed every
32
morning.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So.
It's not easy to get started to do that, though. I have to tell you that.
Yeah, you have to erase the internal
Yeah.
image that
Yep.
you have, right?
Yep.
And I taught you that a long time ago.
Yep.
Every negative word that was spoken over you, it gets embedded in your subconscious.
Right. And God even says in His Word, Ezekiel 36:26, that you have a heart of stone.
Yes.
But He's the one that said, Bonnie, I'm going to give you a heart of flesh. And I said, oh God, I need that heart of flesh. And He's the one that gave it to me.
So, question. I mean, we got a lot of people who are Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, "Well, I had an encounter with God,"
Well,
and yet I see it all the time. People have self-hatred.
yeah.
I see the fruits of self-hatred, bad relationships. They're broke.
Oh, right.
They struggle. They don't think they deserve anything. You know.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
So you're a Christian. You didn't think you deserved.
I didn't think I deserved anything.
Yeah.
When my first husband came into my life,
Mm-hmm.
such an awesome man, I didn't feel I deserved it.
Okay.
And I thought, why does he want me? You know, who am I? What does he want? Because he was the kindest, loving man ever. And when he died, I thought, okay, Bonnie, you deserve what's happening. You're not worth much. So there again, I had to go back and battle. I had to battle my own mind again because, remember, Oscar, we cut the tentacle off, but
Yeah.
a tentacle can regrow itself.
That's right. An octopus
Yes,
can
it
regrow
can.
its tentacle.
Yes. So you always have to be on guard because Oscar will be there and always want to add something to you. So I had to be determined that I didn't cause his death. I didn't want it to happen. And it all worked out,
Yeah.
you know. So it was hard to difficult to deal with, but it worked out very well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so that's like a lot of people don't even know that you lost. I mean, the stuff that you've been through is just crazy.
Yep.
I mean, you had cancer.
Yep.
You lost a baby.
Yep.
Your first husband died that you just loved dearly.
Yep.
You were raised in a very challenging environment that always put you down. And yet people don't see people don't realize everything that you've been through because they look on the outside, they see such a strong, powerful, loving and kind person, and somehow you've not allowed your heart to get bitter because there's people who get bitter. How'd you do that? I mean,
was-
how'd you protect that?
You know, it was a choice I made.
Okay.
I made a choice. You know that saying that you don't want to be bitter, you want to be better?
Mm-hmm.
And I made that choice.
Okay.
That no one wants to be around somebody who's always down the molly grubs, who's always negative. And I love people, and I love being around people. So who wants to be around somebody who's going to sit like, oh, woe is me?
Yeah.
Even though Eeyore is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
he'll go, but,
Yeah.
but I still, I made that choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in the book you talk about these. First of all, you talk about these 7 tentacles,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them, the first one was, and I'm not going to go over all of them. Let me just pull out one and get you to see what you think. One of them was, the first tentacle was negative self-talk.
Oh, I did a lot of that.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
It meant when I looked at myself, I would say, Bonnie, you're stupid. You're so dumb. You're never going to do anything in life. And I started believing that.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. And I would think, who's going to want you? Nobody wants a dumb idiot. And I said
Wow.
that all the time to myself. And, you know, it just was something that the talk that I said to myself was more damaging at times than what others said to me.
Yeah.
And it really was. It's how I perceive things in my own head. And I was like, I'm the one talking to myself, you know, and that wasn't very smart what I did.
So if you don't talk good to yourself, you talk bad about people you don't like.
I know. Well, then, but you remember,
Even hate, right? You talk about
I didn't like
you
myself.
talk about yourself. You're hating on yourself.
Yeah, I didn't like myself. Remember?
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
so I did talk bad about myself. And
Hey, just post down in the chat. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, say I need to talk better about myself.
that's true.
You know, that's self-hatred.
It is. A lot of self-hatred.
Many people talk worse about themselves than other people do.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Oh,
called
that's-
yourself ugly more than anybody's ever called you
Probably.
ugly. One person said you're ugly. Now you told yourself you're ugly 500 times, right?
Well, yeah, but remember, women never forget anything, so.
Yeah, that's true. And well, I'm gonna hold my tongue.
Okay.
I was gonna say some people call me ugly. They ugly. Yeah. But I have a pretty high level of confidence in the looks department. That's
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh.
Ain't no suffering over here.
You need to get out
Yeah,
more.
I know. But anyway, and then you have. Let me pull this other one out. Learned hopelessness.
Oh my
is
gosh.
a sign of self-hatred. Tell us about that. What does that mean? Learned hopelessness.
Learned hopelessness to me in my life was that things were never going to get better.
Wow.
I'm
Whoa.
always going to be like this. There's no way, I couldn't see my way out. There's no way that I ever felt I was going to get
That's
better.
exactly where a lot of people are.
Oh,
right
I know. They look at the situation. I looked at all the situation around me and thought, how will this ever change? With my grandmother in the picture, nothing's going to ever change about me.
Mm.
And so I figured I have to just live with it. And so I did for a long time. You know, I lived with that. And
But you also told in your story how you would try to get out of the environment and run to Aunt Donna,
Right.
run to your grandma,
Oh, yeah.
and then you get in trouble.
Always.
So you try to get out of the environment.
Yeah, but you get in trouble because you got out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love how you encourage people that you have to change your environment.
Oh, definitely.
Like you got to get out of the toxic, you know,
You do.
and because you're never going to get better if you keep listening to
Right.
listening to Oscar,
That's true.
basically listening to the devil himself, right?
Right. Yep.
And the devil speaks through people with dresses and neckties.
Oh, does he ever?
Yeah. And they go to church and they say, Amen. And they say, in the name of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and Mary, right?
I know. Whatever.
Oh, I love that. Learned hopelessness.
Yeah.
And so, like, where are you like now? Like, okay, so Like from learned hopelessness to.
I love my life.
Yeah.
I love my life. I just look at it and say, thank you, God, that I can do all things through you.
Right.
And I think, challenges, even writing this book was a big challenge for me. Mm-hmm. Because to be honest with you, I didn't want everybody to know my personal life.
Right.
So this was, and for me to open up and do this was a big thing.
Yeah, well.
So I think I've come a long way to be able to do that.
Yeah, you have. I'm proud of you. Very proud.
Thank you.
Because you're going to help other people. All these are things that other people struggled with.
You know what a big one for me was perfectionism.
Okay.
Everything had to be perfect.
Mm.
Oh, I was so bad about that. I just wanted everything in my life to be perfect because I thought if it was perfect, then everybody would like me better.
Yeah.
So I strived to always be a perfectionist. I still do that in everything that I do. I try anyway, let's put it that way. Our home has to be perfect all the time. I don't like anything out of place. Mm-hmm. And, there's things about myself. People will say to me, where are you going? I'm not going anywhere. But when I get up in the morning, my hair has to be done, my makeup has to be done, and I've got to look like I'm going somewhere, even if I'm not.
Oh, that's a principle right there.
Well, hey.
Look like you're going somewhere, even if you're not.
That's right.
I love that. You're so funny.
So,
oh, God.
That to me, but everything, it's like my daughter, Julie, when she was little. She's going to hear this and, boss, I'm sorry, but I had to make her perfect. I didn't like her to play in the dirt with the other kids because I always wanted her neat and prim and proper. Mm-hmm. And so everything had to be prim and proper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank God, because look how she is today.
And now you've loosened up. And
yeah.
But I will say this. I think this is a point, and you bring it out in the book. Every weakness is also something that's a positive on the other side.
And you can turn it into a positive.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for 32 years, mm-hmm. I've never seen you one day without makeup on. I've never seen you not dressed nice. I've never seen you not looking good. Every single day. And your mother, your grandmother, your good grandmother taught you.
Right.
What'd she teach you?
When I was a little girl, I went into her room one day.
Why you do it?
Yeah. And she had a dressing table. And she was sitting at that dressing table and she was putting a little makeup on and she was combing her hair. And she said to me that day, I'll never forget it. I said, Grandma, you look so pretty. And she said, listen, I want to teach you something right now. She said, you get up in the morning, you fix your hair, you put on, she said a clean apron, which was kind of cute, for her.
Now you're going back in the old days. Right?
Yeah, but my grandmother was a nurse and she had to wear a uniform.
Yeah.
So she probably covered up till she went to work or whatever.
Okay.
And she said, and you make sure your hair is fixed because if you don't look good for your man, somebody else will.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is so true.
Yeah.
If I don't look good for you, somebody else may come along and look better, Yeah. And that's important because I see ladies, I've said to you how many times, women do not fix their hair. Women do not wear makeup. They don't wear good clothes together. They come out with sweatshirts, t-shirts, whatever on all the time. Yeah. And
you wonder why their husbands leave them.
Exactly. Our appearance is really important.
Yes, yes. Well, a man is turned on by appearance.
Yes.
Yeah, women are turned on by words. And,
true.
Okay, we won't get into that. Anyway, so let me just throw one more out. Hey, by the way, those of you out there, hey, if you're enjoying hearing from Bonnie, will you just make a comment down below? Let's light up this Facebook. Come on, everybody. I know a lot of you are listening. Just give Bonnie a hello. Give Bonnie a congratulations. Will you do that down in the chat, all those of you who are watching? Right now, come on. I want you to tell Bonnie, I want you to thank Bonnie for her courage of telling her story. She's never talked like this before. She's never really shown people her life. And it's what this book is about, her life and
Right.
how she handled all these different things. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for commenting down below. And,
Yes, thank you.
All those over you on Facebook and Twitter and all of our social media accounts. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, if you haven't got the book yet, endselfhatred.com/book. Just go to selfhatred.com/book. We're pushing Bonnie to get this for on number one on Amazon. We're at 470, somewhere like that, and we want to ask you to go get this for yourself. It's more than just a book.
Mm-hmm.
She set this up as a coaching process
Right.
to help you go through. It's not like just wave the wand and tomorrow all your self-hatred's going to be gone. I wish it was that easy, but listen, there's some things you got to deal with.
That's right.
I think you said something about an onion, right?
You've got to be peeled like an onion, and you layer upon layer.
One layer at a time.
And you know what? This was really important for me. I had to have somebody coach me through it, going through the self-hatred.
All right.
Because on my own, I found it difficult. Even though I got saved, you know, I had Jesus living in my life, I still carried some of that into my later years of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I called her my spiritual mom.
Okay.
And she was like a coach to me because she helped me through all the battles that I went through.
Ah.
And there were battles because you're battling your own mind.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thank God for Ann because going through that, you know, she would listen to me and we would actually talk things out. And I'm starting what's called the master's class.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm really, really excited about that.
Okay, tell them about it.
Yeah, it's a class that I'm starting. It's going to be a 6-week class, and anyone can take it.
I can take it? I can go through it?
Well, I don't know if there's much hope for you.
That sounds fun. All right.
Yep.
6-week master class?
Yes. So I'm excited about that.
Centered around the book.
Around the book.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I think people, you know, you get in the classes and you can share with one another. And the thing I like about it is when we share, we're all sharing stories that are almost the same.
Right.
And that's
one person's
important.
story helps you.
Yes.
And yeah, that's cool.
And each person's story, you know, goes back and forth. And so it's for 6 weeks. And I'm not sure of the date that I'm going to be starting it, but.
It's July 14th, I think, is on the calendar.
Oh, that's Julie's birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
At 2 o'clock, I think you have it down for.
Okay.
July 14th at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
In Self-Hatred Masterclass. And Finally
Yes.
Love Yourself Masterclass. That's going to be fun.
Right.
6-week course with Bonnie Johnson.
You can go on my website and check it out.
But we want you to get the book first. Like
Yes.
the first step.
Oh, yeah,
is
you'll want to know what the book has to say or you won't even know what you're doing in the class.
get the book, and then, like you said, get a coach. Get an older woman, mature woman who's conquered the demons that you haven't conquered yet, and get her to help you and to get you under her wing and help her, let her mentor you, just like Bonnie did. That was a big breakthrough for you, and you talk about that need in this book quite a bit too.
It's definitely a need.
And now you feel passionate about helping others. In that area,
That's
right?
my whole goal about this book. You know, I said to you when I started writing it, I said, if this could just help one person,
Right.
then it's worth it all.
Right. So, listen, do the first step and go get the book, inselfhatred.com/book. If you guys are watching on on social media, if someone who's a friend of mine would please post that link down there so people could go and get easy access. inselfhatred.com/book. Those of you who are in Zoom down in the chat, would somebody please help us and post a link? Help one of your friends, one of the people who are participating. Will you go ahead and post that? Maybe Brett can do that. Maybe Matt, one of my sons, can get in there and do that for us. And go down there and click that. Get your copy of the book. The cool thing, this is so nice. It's like hardback. I love the feeling of hardback. You also have it in audio.
Right.
The coolest thing ever. I had to spend a whole week recording my financial fast track myself. She gets in with AI, and on Amazon, AI reads the whole book to you.
And
So you get audio, you got the audio version, you got paperback version, you got the hardcover version, all on there. But go to endselfhatred.com/book, because Bonnie created 3 gifts. One of them we recommend is that you take your
assessment test.
Your self-love assessment test.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of you, there's a lot of people say, oh, I love myself. I don't have self-hatred. Yeah. Remember this. Self-deception is the biggest deception.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Yeah. We all think we love ourselves. I don't have nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I don't need that. And when I read Bonnie's book, I thought, wow, there's a couple areas in my life. I thought, man, I really need to improve that. You did a great job, honey. I'm really proud of you. Super proud of you. And what is there anything else you want to say about the book or about your story?
My story could be anyone's story. So when I think of that, I think it's time for everyone watching tonight to have the same ending in your story that I've had. And that is to learn to love yourself again, which is so important. Because like we said, you can't love others until you learn to love yourself. I think the biggest thing is it needs to be a movement. I think that's really important in gathering a group of women together and encouraging them that they're valuable. That's the most important thing to start with, that they have value. No matter what's been spoken to them, that they have value. And that creates just positive words in their life because they're not used to hearing a lot of positive. So I think once you start in, where they can hear that, wow, I do have something to offer. I am valuable. That's such an important word.
And really, that's a good question, Dr. C, because really what I want to see, because I know the anointing of God on her life. I've seen it over and over. Because she had such trauma, that's what you're calling it, trauma. Yeah. As a child, that's trauma. Those type of environments where you're abused verbally and physical, that's trauma as a child.
Right.
And that brings hurt in the human heart and breaks a person's spirit. And so you have to be healed.
Yeah.
And one of the things God's gifted my wife with, the late, great Lester Summerall, as a little child, laid hands on her.
Yes.
She talks about that in the book.
Yeah.
And called her out at a dinner party and put his hands on her, laid his hands on her. And so Bonnie has this unique ability to see the pain in people's hearts and then pray over them.
Right. And
they get healed internally.
Seen it many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
So that's why we want to, that's why she's doing a mastermind, and she's gonna, it's her exact plan to create a movement, and then even have a summit where people come down and we have a healing time together where we can get our hands on them, we can pray for them.
Right.
And have that spiritual impartation that she experienced, that a lot of people have never experienced that. Because some wounds, only God can heal.
That's right.
Only, So you have this cool thing about birds, or what is that about? Broken wings of birds or something like that?
Broken wings take time to mend before they learn to love again.
Wow.
Before they learn to fly again, I'm sorry.
Broken wings
take time to mend before they learn to fly again.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they fly stronger than before, right?
Stronger than before.
That's the name of the master class, Stronger Than Before. I like that.
The awesome thing, I want to share this real quick. Before my mother died, she said to me, I said to her, Mom, why did you allow Grandma to speak to me the way you did? And she said, I was so grateful for her to taking me in when my mother died. And she said, I was afraid of her. And she said, I said, well, why did you let her do that? And she said, well, she said, I'm so sorry that I allowed that. And you know, that was such another healing in my life, that my mother admitted to me that she was sorry that happened. And I just, you know, her and I had such a good relationship in the end. It was just awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. I usually bring her in on my coaching programs on one of the days and have her pray for people and speak to people.
Right.
And speak healing words over people, and people do it right over a Zoom call, just like this. So we're not hindered by being together, but the definite plan is for people to go through the Stronger Than Before masterclass, and then maybe every quarter or once a year, bring everybody down to Florida here, and we have a time where she can really minister to them one-on-one. That's the current plan right now.
Right. I think when I got so tired of people being so negative to me, and when God came in, you know, when Jesus Christ came into my life, I knew it wasn't right. But I still, you know, I still had that lingering in me. And there was a day when I was determined. I just said, this is it. God, you've got to be real in my life. There's just no way I can go on this way. And I said, I'm miserable. I don't want to make people around me miserable. I grew up with enough of that. So I think it was more the determination that I made, that I don't want to live like that. And the decision that I made was, I'm going forward.
Right.
I'm not going to look, you know, you can't go forward looking in the rearview mirror. And I don't want to go back there and look at any time. I want to look forward. I started looking for a future. And that was the key right there.
Bam.
I looked at what my future could be if I changed my life.
Which that's when you learned hopelessness.
Yes.
You started dreaming.
I did. I did start dreaming. Because before that, I didn't have a dream. I had no dream.
Because you didn't think you deserved it.
No, I didn't deserve it. And so then I decided, I'm going to go forward with this dream. I'm going to start dreaming. And then, even back then, I made a list of things to dream for.
Yeah.
And that was really important.
From the day I met her, she had lists.
Oh, I made lots of lists all the time.
You can either take them, Brett, as a list of dreams or list of requirements for me to stay married to her.
He's bad.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. She bling and nice cars and nice houses and nice clothes. She had her list, brother. That's a good wisdom secret for some of you women. Y'all ain't got no list.
It just wasn't all that.
Oh, Lord.
And then, you know, there was something else, too. I had the most beautiful, awesome daughter.
Yeah. Who's always been encouragement to you.
Oh, she is just my rock.
From day one.
And you have to be an example to those around you. And that was really important.
Now, I think Brett, am I right, Brett? Brett's kind of asking, yeah, that's good. I'm glad. But I think Brett's getting to is, am I right, Brett? Like, how did you get the courage to share this story? Because this is kind of intimate stuff. It's about your family. It's about your background. And you're letting it all hang out. You're like, this is what happened to me. I'm saying it because it's going to help other people. I care more about what other people getting healed
than what others think of me.
My little family who put me down, ran me over the bus, what they think.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest with you. I had to wait till my mom was gone because I didn't want to hurt her, for one thing. Even though we reconciled everything, I still didn't want to hurt her. But then I decided, if I'm going to help anybody in life, I've got to become vulnerable.
Wow.
And that was a scary thing. I'm going to open myself up to people that I don't know, and I'm going to share my life with them. Mm-hmm. And it was a difficult decision, but it was one I was determined to make. and I did it. I just said, okay, God, I'm putting this in your hands, and I'm not taking it back from you. I'm just going to let you use me in any way that you want to. And that's the determination that what I did.
And that's one of the other 2 points you talk about. You had to conquer isolationism.
Right.
Which, when you deal with self-hatred, you tend to isolate yourself and withdraw from everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other thing you had to overcome is perfectionism, and wanting to, that whole perfectionism is like, I got to present myself as perfect all the time. And now you're showing all the stuff you've been through.
Right.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, like you said at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy.
It's not easy at all.
That's Oscar talking to you the whole time, writing this book, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think it's just making a stand for yourself and saying, I don't care what others think. This is about me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it for me. Nobody else, for me. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, it's 9 o'clock. When we told you this party would go on for an hour, we want to hold true to our time. I want to ask all of you one more time. Number one, be looking out for this masterclass.
Yeah.
Those of you who signed up, you should get an invitation. You'll find opportunities in the book with the links to go grab that. Make sure you're in this masterclass in July 14th, and be with Bonnie on this 6-week journey to inner healing, to getting back to real self-love that's unconditional with yourself. She's got tools that's going to help you surface all your self-hatred. She's got a self-love deep dive. Mm-hmm. This is like a 45-question test that she worked on really intently from a psychological point of view, to pull all of that up and to expose those areas in your life. So that's going to be awesome. But once you go get the book, we also recommend that she has a 20 question. This is a quick one, just to rate yourself on how much do you really love yourself. So we recommend that you go to endselfhatred.com/book, and then you'll go buy it actually on Amazon, put your code in, you'll get it as a free gift. So with this book launch, you're getting it for free, Free, for buying the book. So you go buy it there, then you come back, put the code in. Plus, during the book launch, you get 50% off of the mastermind class. So you get a ticket for that, plus you get a ticket, entry into the Facebook group, In Self Hatred Facebook group, which Bonnie's going to be there doing something special once a week. So she's launching this this In Self Hatred movement. I believe it is a movement. It's just started, and we're looking forward to seeing people move into self-love.
Yep.
And God bless everybody.
Yes.
Look down in the chat. All of these links will be down in the chat for you to go do this. And again, hey, if you could buy 100 books tonight, God bless you. This is a seed. Buy some seed. Throw these at your family, man. You're tired of your family. Give them something that'll help them, man. Go buy 100 books. Sow a seed into Bonnie's life. Help us get her to number one. And if not, just go buy one extra one. Go. Don't just buy for yourself. Buy for somebody else. Help somebody else. Let's help some people around the world. And if nothing else, you could shoot off that email. Yep. Shoot off to 10 other people. Say, hey, go buy this while the special's hot. And we appreciate it from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you.
God bless everybody. And we will see you again.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.